the concern of everybody, except Professor Gay. He stated that when God created the Mother Earth, he created it with a balance between vegetation and human activities, so that the quantity of carbon dioxide man and other animals will breathe out will be commensurate with the quantity vegetation and trees, because they are called vegetation in this need for their photosynthetic activities, and they give equal balance of oxygen to man to continue the survival. But what has happened, what is called then vegetation that helps us and rest of them, road construction, railway lines, and what have you. So they are no longer, they are going down. The arrow is vegetation is going down, then human population is going up. And as human population is going up, heavy quantity of carbon dioxide, which is the major, carbon dioxide is the major contributor to ozone layer depletion, which is the principal cause of climate change and global warming. So since there is increased supply or emission of carbon dioxide from different sources into the atmosphere, and we're having depleting population of trees and vegetation, climate consequences will continue to arise. It is the right path to go, but there was no commensurate alternative in order to cushion the adverse consequences. But I'm telling you that due to removal of fuel cost subsidy, number of vehicles, some families have about 4 to 5 vehicles, and they put them on the road. Ike will take one vehicle and drive. The wife will take. The atmosphere, resulting into climate change. But I'm telling you, with the high cost of fuel now, PMS, many families are managing one vehicle and parking the rest. Don't you see, on the other side, it has resulted in reduction of gaseous emission into the atmosphere, which affects and contributes to climate change. So that's sad part. So a lot of dangerous impacts of climate change are here and there, and that is why even the longevity of human beings are reduced, especially in African countries, where or medical facilities, you have it in advanced countries, but pollution has no international boundary. Whatever pollutant that hits America will continue into the air, coming into Africa. But the only difference is that as it's crossing the oceans, the tendency is that the vapor will be pulling some of them down. So by the time it's reaching Africa, the volume and the intensity is minimized. But I'm telling you, air pollution has no international boundary. If Nigeria pollutes its atmosphere, it will reach Cameroon, it will reach Togo, it will reach Niger, it will reach Chad, and continue like that, even Burkina Faso. If such things come from these countries, it will come. And collectively, they will change the climatic condition of the region in terms of climate change. So coming to our relationship or our interest in climate change, there is no Mother Earth Preservation Foundation without its principal objective or aim centered on climate change, addressing climate change. That's why it is called preservation. How can you preserve the environment if you are experiencing climate change volatility? There must be stability in the climatic condition for Mother Earth to be preserved or conserved. That is number one. So, like I stated earlier, that was why we have far-reaching measures on ground. Like this thing we are trying to establish. We are trying to establish a zoological garden or botanical garden along after Peace Mass Transit from Ezimo to
the private initiative.
That's our foundation bought the land, and we are collaborating with government. We discovered some unique, we didn't just do it as an economic venture. We are an NGO, non-governmental organization. So we made some preliminary research and discovered that there are rare species of monkeys and other animals that are peculiar to that particular area. So what we did was to arrange with the community and even co-opt with them, because they have a stake in the project. Okay. So we co-opt with them, but we paid for the place. Then we are co-opting them too, so that we preserve those species of animals and the vegetation, wildlife that are in that place. So we now want to prepare the place in its natural state, possibly construct nets around the area. There is also a lake there that contains many aquatic and marine organisms within that area. And there is a waterfall too. So we want to produce that thing. What we are going to develop that place is nature to nature. The type of structures, there is what is called eco-architecture. Most buildings in urban centers don't wear eco-architecture. It's the only physical structure. If you put a person should take photograph of it and send it to our control system. And because I live, whatever small opportunity I see, I use it to bring it to the public domain. You know that when coal was discovered in 1909 by Engineer Keystone, the British mine engineer who was exploring for silver, and eventually he stumbled into coal along the Udi Ridge. About 16 underground mines came into existence because the old system was underground tunnel mining, you understand?
Okay.
So most of these tunnels now, because it's under industrialization, which is part of the factors that fuel climate change, the first industry in Eastern region, because I'm not calling it East Central State. It was formerly Eastern region, then East Central State, before calling it Southeast. Then the Anambra State. After Anambra has gone, then Enugu and Eboy remain. After Eboy has gone, it now came down to political structures over the years. So when these people cool, because they required energy urgently, even to power most of their plants and source energy, the source electricity. So, and also for locomotive engines in Nigeria, so that they will be taking their exports, groundnut and cocoa, back to their country, to the wharf, then through the sea to their various countries for their industries. So when they came to Enugu, they established it. The first mine was Obwete mine in Kokam. Then after Obwete, you now have Asata mine. After Asata mine, you have Udi mine. After Udi mine, you have a Prism mine towards Sidon. Then because it's in a semicircular way. After the Prism mine, you now come to Eva Valley mine. After Eva Valley mine, you have a Palm Valley mine. Palm Valley is Camp 2. Then after that, you now come to Prism mine 2 at Potre, towards the express. After that, we come to Oyama mine. Then going towards Gariki, you get to unnecessary bureaucracy, destroyed it once more. So some of these 13, the remaining 13 have been flooded. Okay. All these 13 have been flooded. That you cannot move into the mine because they're already flooded. You can't see unless there is a suction machine that will remove the flood before you now start mining. So we have about EE has about 42. Then Ezimo, with the total of these 15 mines is 54. Ezimo in Osoka has about 30-something million reserves. I have that data in my office. So these 13 underground are now saturated and the reserves are still intact. But the problem we have is that some of the reserves, some of these existing those tunnels, 3 tunnels that have been exhausted, and having saturated, these coal miners, before they move in, as they are digging, they are supporting the overlaid with beams, wooden beams and rafters, in order to hold it from collapsing on them. So as they move, they keep on supporting it as they are moving.
TV. I am Barry Kumo Ado. In the headlines, Killer Cop remanded in correctional center over the death of ENUGU musician. Stakeholders advocate inclusion of media managers as equity investors to address economic challenge. European Union demands probe into reports of Georgia vote violations. And a note shortly. The Pan-Niger Delta Forum, PANDEF, led by the South-South leader, Chief Edwin Clark, has set up a high-level peace and reconciliation committee to mediate on and resolve the lingering crisis between the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory Administration, FCTA, Nyesom Wike, and Governor Similaye Fubara of Rivers State. In a communique issued at the end of a special General Assembly meeting held in Port Harcourt over the weekend, PANDEF said that the Reconciliatory Committee is also saddled with the responsibility of nipping in the bud all disputes and conflicts within the area. The Reconciliation Committee, which is headed by Obong Victor Atta, co-chairman PANDEF BOT, as Senator Emmanuel Ebok Essien, former Senate Whip, Senator Roland Owe, Senator Stella Omu, former Deputy Governor of Bayelsa State, Rear Admiral G. John Jonah, Pam Oga, and Dr. Stella Dogo as members. Though the political quagmire between former River State Governor Wike and Fubara was not added in the communique, But when PANEF's spokesman was asked if it was part of a mandate, he said in a text that Wike and Fubara are not members of a committee, but the mandate of a committee includes reconciling their conflict. Recall that Wike and Fubara have been at loggerheads since later assumed office as governor in 2023, just as Fubara had said that his rift with Wike is tied to a tussle over power and control in Rivers State. The Cold War between the duo had continued despite President Bola Tinubu and other relevant stakeholders' intervention. The Pan-Niger Delta Forum, PANDEF, has rejected President Bola Tinubu's decision to scrap the Ministry of Niger Delta. PANDEF's decision was contained in a communique issued at the end of a meeting in Port Harcourt, Rivers State, where the Forum's General Assembly noted with serious concern the scrapping of a Ministry of Niger Delta, which was established to address specific issues bordering on the peculiar circumstances of the Niger Delta, its damaged environment, and its overall importance to the national economy. PANDEF, led by the elder statesman Pa Edwin Clark, said the ministry was dissolved without due consideration to those specific circumstances that led to its creation. It also said there was no due consultation with the critical stakeholders in the region and beyond. On matters specific to the Niger Delta region, the Assembly called on the state government to fully utilize the revenues from a 13% derivation to undertake the various critical programs. A group of agitators in the Niger Delta region are threatening to resume the hostilities in the area by targeting oil and gas infrastructure if a deliberate plot by some politicians to use the court to stop local government allocations in Rivers State is successful. The agitators, under the aegis of the Niger Delta Development Force, NDDF, described as an aberration the attempt to stop the allocation of local governments with democratically elected officials in line with the recent judgment of the Supreme Court on local government autonomy. In a statement on Sunday, the spokesman for the group, Justin Alabraba, threatened to shut down oil facilities and installations in the region should any judge anywhere in the country, particularly Abuja, make such a decision. The ad hoc committee of the House of Representatives has pledged to ensure speedy completion of the Abuja-Kaduna-Kano Road project. The chairman of the committee, Aminu Jaji, made a pledge in a statement issued on Sunday after an oversight visit to the Abuja-Kaduna axis of the project. He expressed displeasure over the slow pace of work by the contractor, pledging that the committee will ensure work begins on the road to make it ready for use as soon as possible. They said the project was awarded almost 6 years ago, saying that the way and manner the contractors are doing the work was too slow. Jaji said that the committee would intervene and ensure all pending issues are resolved so that work can begin immediately. According to him, this is why the House deemed it very necessary to constitute the committee. The chairman appealed to the road users to be patient as efforts will be in top gear to ensure the road is in good condition for use as soon as possible. On October 17, the federal government threatened to revoke a section of the Abuja-Kaduna Highway contract being handled by Julius Berger. The Minister of Works, David Umai, said this during a visit to inaugurate the rehabilitation of a highway at Zuba, area of the Federal Capital Territory. The contract was awarded to Julius Berger in 2018 when former President Muhammadu Buhari was in power. Issues in social and economic development of the Old Eastern region and refocusing the media towards development journalism were on the front burner at a just concluded workshop for editors and media executives at Owerri, Imo State. Signature TV correspondent Ndu Okbaleze also reports that the many woes of state-owned newspapers came under focus, with survival strategies exposed.
A former managing editor of Sun newspapers, Tony Onyema, after identifying poor government funding, inefficient management, and undue government interference as bogging down the government-owned newspapers, advocated what he called creative disruptions in their business models. Onyema said governments of the Southeast and South-South states should co-opt professional media managers as equity investors as a way of salvaging the accumulators' situation, adding that total digital migration holds the key to their survival.
The strategy of online is totally different from this. If you go and check New York Times. New York Times is always my model because in 19 watts, I decided instead of paying ticket to go to America to look at skyscrapers, one of those my vacations, I just wrote to them, they agreed. I went there and worked with them for 2 weeks. I was shocked. I came back totally diminished that we are not doing anything yet. Today, New York Times migrated. They are making so much money online than they were doing previously. I subscribe to New York Times on phone. From my phone here, I will read it. And you pay. They give you a window of 1 week or 2 weeks free. And those ones they give free, the way
unrealized for many decades.
Despite multiple promises, the coastal rail line and road remain incomplete, undermining regional connectivity. Lessons from past development plans. The First Rolling Plan and the Eastern Nigeria Plan offer valuable lessons on how targeted interventions and regional integration can promote economic development. The Eastern Nigeria Plan's focus on agriculture and regional industrialization can inspire renewed efforts towards economic diversification.
For Professor Stella Okonna, media practitioners should employ development journalism to offer voice to the masses and hold leaders accountable on good governance principles.
I remember in our part of the world, whether it is southeast or south-south, you must begin also with advocacy. You must go to the community and locate those who are the opinion leader. This is part of your advocacy. Otherwise, you go in there and you commit one taboo and they'll even keep behaving.
Susan Akila of the UNICEF, in her paper titled Media Setting the Child Rights Agenda, cautioned against inappropriate exposure of children in the media. Susan, whose paper was presented by Ijeoma Onohogwe, said the United Nations has zero tolerance for sexualized images of children, adding that wherever they appear, their liberty to free expression should be respected.
All journalists and media professionals have a duty to maintain the highest ethical and professional standards and should promote within the industry the widest possible dissemination of information about International Convention on the Rights of the Child and its implications for the exercise of independent journalism. Media organizations should regard violation of the rights of the child and issues related to children's safety, privacy, security,
render the inhabitants most vulnerable. Juliet Chuliwe, in charge of UNICEF ENUGU office, however, explained that UNICEF interventions are data-driven. The Owerri 2-day capacity building
identified as Oluebube Elom from Ebonyi State was arrested on Monday for stealing a speaker and fan at St. Joseph's Catholic Church, Thinkers. In the course of an interview with Signature TV, Oluebube blamed this action on hunger and hardship. The Chief Security Officer of Thinkers Corner, ENUGU, Charles Njoku, told Signature TV that the incident had been going on in the area for some time. He regrets that one of the challenges they face in carrying out their duties effectively is the lack of arms needed for the job, pleaded with the government and well-meaning individuals living in the area to come to their aid. In a bid to arm women with the necessary skills and knowledge to maximize scarce resources occasioned by the present economic downturn, Women Chamber of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture, WOSIMA, organizing with the necessary knowledge to be financially prudent, the Roundtable Conference on Financial Literacy by Women Chamber of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture, WOSIMA, an offshoot.
Please go back to your banks, tell them, this account I have, savings account I have, what is the interest on it? Ask them, what are the different savings accounts you have in the bank, because each one has a different interest rate. You must allow your money and investment to work for you. You study it so that you make
The conference has equipped them with financial literacy needed to make informed decisions to thrive beyond the present economic downturn.
We acknowledge that the result will invariably be confidence in business and independence from financial servitude.
The training will encourage us and able to have the capacity to down the incapacitation that is in our life, and then enhance the one that is being we are looking for.
The Roundtable Conference on Financial Literacy with the theme Building Confidence and Independence also featured the recognition of deserving personalities and decoration of Princess Eremaya Ebila citizens for the second tranche of 2 months intensive agricultural and entrepreneurship training under the Francis Ubona Winfrey Empowerment Program. Participants getting 3 million naira startup funds each on graduation. The governor of Ebonyi State, who was represented by the Commissioner for Human Capital Development, stated this in Abakaliki while declaring open the training in a bid to cement the successes recorded in the first tranche of Francis Ubona Winfrey Empowerment Program. Governor Francis Winfrey has again enlisted another.
To finish your training, he will empower you with the money to start up those businesses. His Excellency, the governor really means business, and anytime he promises anything, he fulfills it. He wants to build lives. He wants to transform the in Ebonyi State, both millionaires in Ebonyi State. He wants to make so many people independent.
For the beneficiaries, the various empowerment programs of the state government are not just made hunger.
Having to be part of the lecturing is going to help me know more about agriculture and so many diversified areas that I partake in. So it's going to help me know more so many sectors.
After being trained, I will make sure that I put it into practice in order to be
we not only empower us as a person, but also empower the state, because it will go to increase our own GDP and also the state and Nigeria at large.
The 100 beneficiaries that will be camped at Master Skills Acquisition Training Center, Awani, ENUGU, whose welfare for the 2 months training already catered for by the state government, would also be given 100,000 naira each as pocket money for the 2 months. Up ahead, northern governors and monarchs converge on Kaduna over insecurity. Hoodlums kidnap UNN Dean along Ugwogwo Opi Nsukka Road. Stay with us. A joint meeting of the Northern Governors Forum and Northern Traditional Rulers Council convened in Kaduna, aiming to tackle the region's pressing security and developmental challenges. In attendance at the meeting, which was held at the Sir Kashim Ibrahim Government House and the state capital on Monday, were Nigeria's Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, while welcoming his colleagues, the chairman of the Northern States Governors Forum, Muhammadu Yahya called for collective emphasized unity and collective action against regional challenges. He also highlighted the importance of unity and cooperation among northern leaders while praising the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, for his presence and support. The Nigeria Police Force, NPF, on Monday said it is investigating the assault of a cab driver, Stephen Abuwaseya, by a member of the House of Representatives from Abia State, Alexandra Mascot Ikweche. NPF warned the force